Thank you for joining me. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields on this Friday. Thank you for taking the time to share this information. I do appreciate subscribers. Of course, I love this weather community, but I would love you to just be able to subscribe and share this channel just to get the information out about this system. Let me get right to it. Nothing fancy here. Just want to get to the facts. I want to get into the hurricane versus tropical storm conditions, where we'll see which one, and the timing of that, plus the models. There are big differences in some of the models still, and I want to show you how this is going to strengthen the next couple days. I want to go island by island. All islands matter with the rain potential. Get into the wave heights and even Norma, which is out in the eastern Pacific. But this here is Tammy. Overnight, it has gotten better organized. I've been watching this hour by hour. Let me zoom down into the radar shooting out of Barbados. Here's Barbados. And as I mentioned, just a few kilometers or miles is going to make a big difference as this works closer generally up toward Guadeloupe. Again, the core of the rain, look at that. Just there's the center of this, just off to the east and northeast there of Barbados. We'll get some of those outer bands at times that continue to move in, even down through Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago. Some of these outer bands will be working in throughout the day, but the core of the system here shifting into this direction. So Martinique, we'll see the rain chance going up, but Dominica into the north especially. But that's how it stands right now. Now, here are the models. Now, most of the models bring this right into or near Guadeloupe and Antigua and Barbuda, with the potential of a direct landfall of a hurricane for tonight. It's going to be right on the edge of a hurricane, either a strong tropical storm or a low-end hurricane. Either way, it just splitting the difference of a few kilometers an hour or miles per hour. But you see here again, the model's in very good agreement, bringing this right into us in the northeastern Caribbean, and then eventually making the turn. It'll be off to the east of Bermuda down the road. Puerto Rico, thank you for your trust in this. I've been mentioning how we are in monitor mode in Puerto Rico. Points to the east, we've been getting ready for a tropical storm or a hurricane. So we're still just keeping an eye on this in Puerto Rico. Got you covered. Any big track shift, I'm going to be on top of this. And we saw Philippe. Remember Philippe? We did that together. Philippe was a very tricky system. It took some shifts. I kept you up to date best I could on that. And I'll do the same with this if I see anything changing. So hurricane impacts, Northeast Caribbean. I'm going to break that down specifically. Timing tonight and tomorrow. Mudslide potential, higher terrain. If you get some of the heavier rain, that is a huge concern. The mudslides, rock slides, landslides. We'll have some power outages. Some spots cut power in advance, and I know a lot of the school systems are closed for today, and watching out for some of the flooding. Also, there will be some wind damage. Anytime you get a strong tropical storm or low-end hurricane, there are going to be some wind damages, but a very fine line for the impacts. Some of us on Sunday are going to be like, what storm? Where the heck was this thing? Others, just an island over, will have had a strong tropical storm move by. A small shift will make a big difference, but there's a fine line between where the impacts are and where they're not. Like I was kind of showing you on that radar in Barbados, the heavy rain is not too far away. The core of the system is sitting just offshore. Now here's the track, and this is what I was showing you yesterday, and I do think this track is correct. I do believe some of the models are off. I'm going to show you a model in a second. It's a little bit more to the east, which would be better news. But either way, this will be very close to Guadeloupe. The center should be just to the east by tonight. Now, these things are not just the center. These are large systems. So, of course, being very close to the center, even if it's not a direct landfall, we're going to see tropical storm to hurricane conditions in Guadeloupe, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, Statia, Saba. We're going to get strong tropical storm conditions by late tonight, early tomorrow. We could get those hurricane conditions, Antigua, Barbuda, and right on the edge of that in Anguilla, St. Martin, and St. Bart's. But as you get toward, and I believe they just upgraded some of these warnings over toward Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, Saba, and Statia. So here's that, and you can see here this blue shading here. We have the tropical storm watches and warnings. Hurricane watches and warnings are up anywhere from Anguilla down through Martinique, but the worst weather will be Guadeloupe right up through Anguilla. That's where some of the worst weather will be. U.S. and British Virgin Islands on the edge of it. It would take a shift to kind of work it into our direction. As of now, worst weather would be just to the east. So for those hurricane conditions, we're talking the mudslides, the flooding, winds right around 120 kilometers an hour, 75 miles per hour. Anguilla, as I mentioned, down through Guadeloupe, we're going to be on the edge of that. Antigua, Barbuda, we could take a direct hit out of this thing, and very close to some of the hurricane conditions. Saba, Statia, St. Kitts and Nevis, Montserrat, but more likely here we'll have those tropical storm conditions as we get into tonight and the first half of tomorrow. Now, as I want to show you a map in a second that's very important, because I'm going to show you this. This is the American model. The European model is pretty similar. there, but this here is going to be closer to here. These are models. They're a little bit off. It's initializing off. So the beginning of the model is not matching up to where the system is now, which is telling me it ain't quite right. That's normal. This is normal, but this is going to be closer. The center is going to be more here. Remember, I just showed you that track. The center will be more here, and that will work in some of the hurricane conditions right near Antigua and Barbuda by tomorrow morning. But you get the idea. Tomorrow morning, worse weather will be nearby, Guadeloupe and up to the north. Watching out for Dominica for that potential of mudslides. If we get some rain bands moving in, that could do that. So I'll be watching out for that. And again, this is by later on our Saturday. This system will be a little bit over here. It has slowed down some. So some of us are going to have the impacts all the way into tomorrow evening, especially Anguilla, St. Martin, St. Bart's, and Antigua and Barbuda. And you see this? Not showing a whole lot, Ceiba, Statia, St. Kitts and Nevis, Montserrat, but that's because this model's a little bit off. It should be a little bit more over here, and then this system by Sunday morning lifting to the north, but as it does, it is going to wrap in those rain bands. I'll show you that for Trinidad and Tobago in a second. Hang tight. I want to get down to the south, southeastern Caribbean, got you covered. This is the important map that I was talking about. I showed you the model, and this is the wind field. Basically, in this kind of outer edges here, this blue shading here, tropical storm conditions. This in here would be the potential of hurricane conditions, that core right in there with those brighter colors. And again, this model the model I just showed you was a little bit more over here, but this track, and this is the one from the National Hurricane Center as well, is more in line with what's going to happen. So closer to Guadeloupe and then moving right up here. So you can see some of the hurricane conditions, Antigua and Barbuda by tomorrow morning, very close to Anguilla tomorrow morning, right on the edge of it, St. Martin and St. Bart's as well. So this again needs to shift a little bit. So here's the core of the winds, but it's going to be a little bit more over here. I like to tell you everything I'm thinking. I don't just use the models. I've been doing this for way too long. You see some of the red showing up. Those would be some of the hurricane winds by tonight, and that'll be very close to Antigua and Barbuda over toward Guadeloupe. There's that red, the hurricane conditions close to Anguilla. Heaviest should be just to the east, but it is going to be very close in Anguilla. But again, Antigua, Barbuda through Guadeloupe, that's where tonight into the first half of tomorrow, we could have those very strong winds. And that's still that strong flow. This is by Saturday night, bringing some gusty winds as well. Now, here's as far as the strengthening is concerned. Again, the water temperatures are so warm. They're near 30 degrees Celsius, mid-80s Fahrenheit. I think it was about 3 days ago I was talking about this. 2 ingredients that could allow it to strengthen. 1, the water temperatures. 2, what we're seeing with the wind shear. There is some wind shear out there. That's why yesterday was kind of a little bit of a lopsided system, but the wind shear isn't too bad. This red shading, that's some crazy wind shear. This here, it's kind of light to moderate. Point being, wind shear knocks the tops off of the thunderstorms as they try to develop and build up in a storm. That would be a good thing, but the wind shear isn't too strong. So light wind shear or light to moderate wind shear and stronger water temperatures. That's why I do believe it will get very close to a hurricane for tonight, and a lot of the models show that. This is out in time, this yellow shading going 24 hours out in time, 48 hours out in time. A lot of them have it as a hurricane, and again, the ingredients are in place for that to happen. So the Hurricane Center track, I believe that is right on track, becoming a hurricane, and then here's Bermuda eventually by early next week, trying to make the hook, because there are fronts that are sitting back to the west. So again, those fronts will help to allow it to curve, but it has slowed, and it is going to wobble into our direction as we go over the next 24 hours. So this rain also is going to be a little bit closer. Antigua, Barbuda, Guadeloupe. We're looking at even some of this black shading showing up, 150 millimeters of rain or 6 inches of rain. That is going to lead to some flooding. Dominica, big concern for the potential of some rain at times. Again, the worst would be just to the east and north, but if we get some rain bands in Dominica, we're going to see the mudslides, Martinique, watching that, where we could get upwards of 100 millimeters of rain or more. It just really depends on those rain bands. Kind of a wait and see, kind of have to nowcast these things as these systems move in. Same thing, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, the Grenadines, Barbados. Barbados today, watching those rain bands, as I showed you, the core of the system offshore, but we could still pick up 4 inches of rain or about 100 millimeters of rain. St. Lucia, possibility of that, watching those rain bands moving around. Now, as this system lifts to the north, as we go throughout the weekend, we're going to see the enhancement of rain, almost indirect impacts in Trinidad and Tobago, but we'll get a few spots that get a couple of these downpours with some of the rain bands that filter in, which means isolated flooding through the weekend in Trinidad and Tobago. It doesn't look widespread, doesn't look isolated. Watching you over toward Trinidad. As far as the wave heights go, I know we have a lot of captains, mariners, fishing interest on this channel. Again, the waves building. This is actually in feet here. You see those waves that will be topping out. out 20, 30 feet at times, super high as you would expect with the system. And then as the wind field gets even stronger, things kind of broaden out and those wave heights will get even more impressive. Very, very high for a large area as we work our way into early next week. Now, I want to show you a few things here. This is one of those fronts, and there's another little one over here that I've been showing you for a week that would eventually help turn it, but not in time. This system stayed weak initially, and that's why it's coming into the northeastern Caribbean. This out here is Norma. I want to get into that. My friends in Honduras, thinking of you. We've had the heavy rain, the flooding, unfortunately, around Roatan. We've been talking about that, highlighting that. Central America, we've had areas of flooding, and that is going to continue. Blobs of rain right now in Colombia, spotty showers. Cayman Islands watching us. Cayman Islands, my friends in Jamaica, Tammy's not coming into our direction, but again, just watching out for these old fronts with scattered showers and storms. Look at this moisture around. Again, Honduras today, more moisture, and as I mentioned, this here, this is Tammy. But picture this a little bit more over here as we work our way into Saturday. To give you a feel of the forecast, heavy rain. Nicaragua, once again, we've been dealing with the rain for days and days in some of the same spots. And in Nicaragua, through Costa Rica, Panama, more flooding. Guatemala, El Salvador, isolated flooding, a potential. Yucatan of Mexico in through Belize, rain chance not as high. Most of it has been down to the south. Bahamas, spotty showers. And there goes our system, which will be a Hurricane Tammy by the time we get into Sunday, trying to lift up to the north. And look at this. Trinidad and Tobago, as it does, this is exactly what I was talking about. It draws in some of that moisture, these long feeder bands, even Barbados on Sunday. We could see some showers and storms that will be around. Now we get back to this out here. This is Norma. This is going to be a slow mover. We have the hurricane warnings that are up as you get toward the southern end of the Baja of California, and you can see this big blob here. Now it's not as strong as it was. As I mentioned yesterday, it would move over some cooler water, just kind of sitting there, but this is going to lift into Cabo San Lucas today. Tropical storm to near hurricane conditions moving in, and then it just kind of hangs out. So it's going to be a mess right in here. Watching this, if you are in the southern Baja of California, again, we're talking about dealing with a hurricane to tropical storm conditions for a long period of time. And this is by the time we get into Saturday afternoon, this thing is still sitting over the Gulf of California. That means a mudslide potential as you get into these portions of Mexico here, and then eventually trying to work its way in, but still kind of sitting along the coast. Now it's going to be weakening, but that means a prolonged rain event right in here. So this is by the time we get into Sunday, and then eventually some of this moisture is going to feed over toward Texas as we work our way into late Sunday into Monday. We could see some of this rain moving in, which would be good news for Texas, which Texas in an extreme drought coming off the summer. So Barbados, that very high chance of rain today, not all day, but as I showed you on the radar, at times. St. Lucia, same thing. The elevated chance of rain, just watching those rain bands, you kind of know something bigger is nearby. Martinique, we're going to see the same thing, watching those rain bands, isolated flooding, some gusty winds at times. Now, as we work our way up toward Dominica, we've been kind of right on the edge of a lot of systems this season. We're kind of the marker once again. Worst weather will be either nearby or just to the north. So watching that. Speaking of which, just to the north in Guadeloupe, the potential of strong tropical storm conditions, the likelihood of strong tropical storm conditions to hurricane conditions tonight and the first half of tomorrow. Antigua and Barbuda, we could have some of those hurricane conditions around tomorrow. Because this system has slowed, they're going to stick around a little bit longer. So tropical storm to hurricane conditions, again, that will be moving in. St. Kitts and Nevis and Montserrat, it's not going to be all day stuff tonight and tomorrow, or all night stuff, I guess I should say, but those bands of rain and storms that will bring us tropical storm conditions. Anguilla on the edge of tropical storm conditions late tonight, but more so tomorrow in Anguilla. St. Martin, Saba, Statia, tropical storm conditions, a potential starting late tonight into tomorrow. Puerto Rico, again, heaviest weather off to the east. We are hot, some scattered showers and storms. U.S. and British Virgin Islands watching very carefully, because if this slows anymore, and it has slowed, that's been one of the changes. If it wobbles a little bit more to our direction, that could give us more rain. So I'll be watching that. Trinidad and Tobago, this through the weekend, as I mentioned, those feeder bands wrapping into the system, isolated flooding. Grenada, better chance of some rain around on Sunday. 40% chance St. Vincent and the Grenadines the next 2 days. Again, a better chance on Sunday with the system well to the north. Haiti, 40% chance of showers and storms. The system not working its way toward Haiti. We're going to see some isolated to scattered showers and storms. Same thing in the Dominican Republic, about a 50% chance of storms as we get into the weekend. Jamaica scattered about 40 to 50% chance of showers and storms to give you that forecast. Cayman Islands, we have those scattered showers around this morning. Rain chance very high in Bermuda. We've got several systems nearby. Multiple fronts that are just going to draw in the rain both today and tomorrow. Belize, rain chance limited. I was showing you just to the south. That's where most of it is. Just to the south of the Yucatan of Mexico. 50% chance of rain in the Bahamas, especially this morning with a front moving by. 40% chance Turks and Caicos today. 30% chance tomorrow. 30% chance of rain in Cuba. Higher chance eastern sections of Cuba, where we'll have about a 40 to 50% chance. Aruba, Curacao, we're going to have to get lucky with some showers, and Bonaire, 20% chance as we go over the next few days. Rain chance stays very high. Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Panama, even some of those isolated to scattered showers and storms in some areas of flooding. El Salvador and Guatemala. Northern Venezuela, rain chance 40%. We'll see some increased moisture in parts of Guyana and Suriname as this system lifts to the north. As I mentioned, in Trinidad, drawing in some moisture. It'll draw in a slightly better chance of some moisture around. Hopefully we get some rain. We need it really in some spots, Guyana and Suriname. So Tammy, moving in tonight, mudslides, flooding, gusty winds, impacts through Saturday because the system has slowed. Just kind of a slow go as it moves by, and watching the flooding in Central America. 41 days left in the hurricane season. So we've got some time left in the hurricane season. I'll take it storm by storm. So thank you for your trust with this, especially because about a week ago, the models were showing this out to sea, and I just was not seeing that scenario, and now we have it working in. So thank you for sharing this channel, getting the word out. I will be watching this throughout the day. Again, it's going to be some islands will wake up in a day or two, totally nothing. Others will have dealt with a strong tropical storm or even a hurricane. So fine line, that's how it goes. In the islands, I will keep you posted. Thank you for your trust. Please, please be safe, especially with the mudslide potential. Have a good day ahead.